Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Miller, and I'm an assistant professor of psychology at IU East, Indiana University East. And today I'll be talking about some ways to use popular programs and apps like TikTok and Kahoot to engage your students in evidence-based learning strategies as part of your course. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation with you now, and hopefully that's working. So let's see here. So research often shows that students use ineffective study strategies such as rereading and cramming for exams, even though research has shown these are some of the least effective ways to learn new material. So what should they be doing? If you're not familiar with learning strategies based on cognitive science, I would recommend two resources. First, Make It Stick by Brown, Rediger, and McDaniel. These authors cover the best strategies that cognitive science has uncovered to help people become more productive learners. Another useful book is called Small Teaching by James Lang. This book discusses small ways that instructors can change their courses to improve students' learning by implementing proven learning strategies. And finally, the website retrievalpractice.com has many excellent learning strategy resources for instructors as well. These will give you a good foundation for the concepts I'll discuss in this presentation. But in the meantime, here are some of the main learning strategies I'll be discussing today. The first one is retrieval practice. This strategy forces students to retrieve information from their memory without a cue, hint, or multiple choice options. The challenge of retrieving information from memory storage helps strengthen those neural pathways so that retrieval becomes easier with more practice and long-term memory is established. There are many ways to include retrieval practice in your courses, including low-stakes quizzes, flashcards, writing prompts, and other retrieval activities that can be implemented in your course. Spacing is a strategy that simply involves spreading lessons and retrieval opportunities apart instead of cramming learning in all at once. My colleague, the neuroscientist Greg Dam, likens spacing to training for weightlifting competitions. You wouldn't spend the day before the competition lifting as much weight as possible for 12 hours. No, you would spread out small bursts of lifting weights over time so that the muscle can develop and strengthen. The same is true for learning. Doing it all at once right before the big competition or exam is ineffective. The next concept is interleaving. This is the practice of integrating learning about related concepts instead of just focusing on one concept at a time. This can help students compare and contrast similar ideas over time, as well as integrate concepts for deeper learning. Feedback about metacognition, including information of all your assignments about learning strategies, which ones are being engaged, and why they're effective. In this way, we can help students better understand their own learning processes within the context of the assignment itself without having to create new lessons about metacognition or the ways that we learn. Self-explanation. Research has shown that when a student is asked to explain a concept in their own words or explain why a correct answer is correct, they deepen their understanding of the concept. Finally, motivation, engagement, and fun. When students feel engaged and motivated by a task, they are often willing to give it more effort than they would to a mundane task. So these are great ideas, right? As instructors, we all want to do the best to help our students learn, and that's why you're listening and watching this presentation, is because we're all here to learn the best things to do, but we also know that reality intrudes here. It's difficult to find the time to implement these strategies in our courses. Small teaching is a great resource for ideas to implement small changes in these areas without overhauling your entire course. I've also found that technology can help and is especially engaging for our students who have had access to technology basically since birth. So the apps I'll be discussing here today are Kahoot and TikTok mainly. I've also used Quizlet, which is like a flashcard program where students can go in and make or find flashcards and quiz themselves about concepts within the course. But I've found that students didn't really love Quizlet, and I don't think that I've really optimized the assignments in Quizlet at this point. So if I wanted to suggest Quizlet, I would probably have to do more work and be more creative in the assignments that I give. So today I'm just going to focus on Kahoot and TikTok. So, and I also know that many other of my colleagues are using even more types of technology in their courses, as I've seen on the Division II Facebook page discussions. The reason that I chose these two apps specifically is because they cover a range of the learning strategies that I most want to impart to my students. Let's see here. First, probably the most fun and the most success that I've had in using these new apps is with TikTok. So you might know that if you're familiar, if you've been listening to the news, that TikTok might be going away. There are some controversial things about TikTok, and the president has all but banned the use of TikTok. As of me recording this, it's supposed to not be available in the App Store anymore, but I don't know that if that's true. I looked today, and you can still download TikTok. And I can still use TikTok and post videos there. So you can still use TikTok as of now. However, if that goes away, your students can use things like Instagram Reels or other video editing software. Some of my students just make videos on their phones, and they don't really jazz them up very much. They just make a video. So most students really do love the TikTok activities that I create, even if they've never made a TikTok video before. And I know that it took me a while to get the courage to make my own because it just seems like a young person thing to do. But once I did it, honestly, I was really hooked. It's a great way to get creative when engaging students with new information. And if you're not familiar with TikTok, please come out from under your rock and join the rest of us in the world. TikTok users create short videos, usually anywhere from 15 seconds to 1 minute, and they combine their video with music or other audio sources, text, emojis, backgrounds, video effects, and other creative elements. In my own videos, I try to incorporate humor and personalization because I think students like to see their professors being human. Um, let's see. At the same time, I try to make my videos as important as possible. As important? That's not what I meant to say. I try to make um, my videos as informative as possible, and hopefully they're important as well, especially about important concepts that align with my learning objectives for the course. I also assign students to create and share their own TikTok style videos with the caveat that they do not have to use the actual TikTok platform to create them, and that they don't need to share their videos on social media if they don't want to. So I do have some students who just really object to being on social media. It's not something they want to do. So I give them a variety of options just in case they're not interested in being on social media. In my assignments, I always give the students the metacognitive background information about how creating a video like this will help them reach their learning objectives for the course. And then I assign a discussion in Canvas utilizing the group discussion feature to create small groups of maybe 6 or 7. And each student shares their video within their small group, watches and responds to their group's videos, and votes on their favorite video of the week by using Canvas's like feature in the discussion board. For some students, the competition aspect does not matter or is even a little bit anxiety provoking, but I've found that for other students, the competition adds fuel to their creative fire and gets them producing better and better videos. The weekly winner of each group gets 1 bonus point, so it's not very much bonus, but it's enough that the students kind of start competing for that point. And the other students get a pass-fail grade for giving adequate effort. So I don't grade this really toughly. It's just a fun assignment that gets them engaged and kind of gets their juices flowing. And I find that for students who don't like competition, this takes away some of their anxiety. Honestly, this is my favorite assignment to grade. It always leaves me laughing, feeling impressed with my students, and giving me points of connection to their daily lives because many of them will include their children, their pets, or other things that they're interested in. So I get to see, especially for students who are online only students, I get little glimpses of their home life that I might not get over traditional ways of interacting with them. I also make sure to give feedback as to whether the concept they presented in their video was on track or if they need some additional information about the topic. So here are some ways that I use TikTok. The only two ways are TikToks that I create and then the TikToks that I ask the students to create. So the TikToks that I create, I just integrate into my lecture material or give them access to in terms of like when they're learning new concepts. I'll make a little video to illustrate the concept or I teach abnormal psych, so I'll make videos about difficult terms or lists of DSM-5 criteria for different diagnoses, as you'll see in my sample TikTok videos. And then also, I will have students create their own TikToks. And like I mentioned before, this is done in a discussion format so that they can share with their friends and have a little bit of friendly competition within the class. So here are some examples of TikToks. First, these are two that I created myself, and we'll see if we can get these to work correctly in a online conferencing kind of way.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. No, I ain't gonna comb my hair, 'cause I ain't going anywhere. No, 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 no. I'll just
Okay, so you can say I had a lot of fun making that one, and hopefully it will help the students to remember some of those criteria for major depressive disorder. And this one is, I also do a series of ones about fancy psychology words. So this one's about anhedonia.
You know, instead of waiting for a good day to happen, waiting around the ups and downs, I just said, look.
Okay, so those are just a couple of examples of ones that I've made, and then these next two are student-made videos, and they gave me permission to share these, and these are also public on TikTok. So.
Alright, feel trapped in my mind. I can't escape, even if I try to. Little too late, too wicked, too kind. My heart's on fire and I'm burning alive, so I guess I'm not fine. Still trapped in my mind. The tape been in my mind for days. Wish I could get away. You know it isn't safe for me to be in this space. Drunk and I miss you unless I'm just drunk.
All right, so that's the first one, and here's another one.
We got a good thing. Don't know if I'ma see you again, but is that a good thing? 'Cause girl, I can't be your man. No man.
All right, so those were two that I thought were pretty good. The second one definitely made me laugh because I could never break up with my coffee. So, all right, so moving on. The next thing is Kahoot, and this might be a program that many of you are familiar with. I first learned of it because of my daughter in elementary school. Her teacher used Kahoot all the time. Elementary teachers use this now that every student kind of has an iPad or laptop in many schools, and they can use fun trivia games and integrate multimedia into their presentations. And research has really shown that Kahoot is incredibly successful in lower grade levels at getting kids engaged by game playing. However, this is not just applicable to elementary kids, right? This is applicable to high school and college students as well. They like having fun. I like having fun just as much as little kids do. So, gamification research has shown that adding game elements to your courses can be very engaging and motivating for students, whether they're motivated by competition or just feeling more engaged by activities that actually feel fun. So, there are lots of ways to use Kahoot to make your class more fun while also engaging students in effective study strategies. And these are the main study strategies that Kahoot provides, which is retrieval practice, spaced practice, interleaving, and low stakes, engaging competition, game-based learning. So the way that I most frequently use Kahoot in my course is with a weekly practice trivia game that helps students prepare for their final weekly quiz. I create a trivia game and students are able to see how they fare on the game compared to other students in the course. And if the students want to remain anonymous, if they don't want their peers to know how they performed on the trivia challenge, they can use a different unidentifiable username instead of their real name, but they just have to provide me with their username so that I can give them a grade, basically. So my introduction to the Kahoot assignments always includes brief information about the metacognitive factors involved in Kahoot, why retrieval practice, spacing, and interleaving are effective ways of learning. You can have multiple short trivia games throughout the week to encourage further spaced learning, as well as including a variety of topics in your trivia games that relate to similar concepts for that interleaving point of view. Some other ways you can use Kahoot. You can do this in your seated or online courses, and oftentimes it's even more valuable in your online courses because you can create interactive lectures, video lectures, and PowerPoint slides. I think you can only do this with the paid version of Kahoot, and I got my university to pay for it, but it's only about $5 a month to bump up to like that first paid level, and then you're able to create entire lectures with embedded video, PowerPoint slides, anything that you want. And then after the students kind of watch the videos and slides, you can add trivia questions to immediately test their comprehension. And in online courses, this can be especially helpful to get students to engage with your teaching materials and to see which concepts they struggle with and might need more help with. Students can have fun and get creative when you have them create their own Kahoot challenges for the rest of the class. This could be especially fun during review for big exams like midterms or finals, and it could take some of the pressure off of you to create your own review game. This might be best completed as a group project with plenty of guidance and moderation from you regarding what kinds of questions they should be creating. Students would have free access to the basic version of Kahoot so they could create their own trivia games with no problem. Another cool part of Kahoot is called ghost mode. So ghost mode is when a student plays against a former version of themselves. So for instance, you could have students complete a trivia game at the beginning of a module before they've learned any of the content. And then at the end of the module, the students can replay that same game and see how they compare to the ghost version of themselves from before they learned the content. And hopefully they will have performed better on the trivia game compared to their first original try before learning the content. If not, then maybe you have some explaining to do. And finally, well, that's not finally. There's tons of stuff that you can do in Kahoot, and these are just a few of the things that are available. But they have great tools that let you see which trivia questions are giving your students the most trouble. So week to week, you can monitor your questions and even create a new Kahoot that only covers the tricky concepts. And then you can add some instructional content to your trivia game to help them master the concepts before they answer the tricky question again. So, Kahoot makes it really easy. It just says after each like after each trivia game that I create, it has an option that just says, make a new game out of the most difficult questions from this game. So it just makes it really, really simple. Uh, Overall, um, using these two apps has really increased the engagement and fun level of my courses. Students really enjoy being creative using TikTok, and they really like the extra study preparation provided by Kahoot trivia games. An informal survey that I did of students in my pilot courses revealed that students felt that TikTok helped them be more creative, engage with their fellow classmates more, and was more engaging and motivating than your typical assignments. Some students did feel that TikTok helped them learn the course concepts better, while others really did not. So that's an area of growth for me, is learning how to refine my use of the TikTok assignments to make sure that students are not just having fun, but they're actually achieving their learning objectives through using TikTok. I'm also currently piloting Kahoot in 2 of my courses and haven't really gathered any even informal surveys on that yet, but just by talking to students and kind of seeing how they're feeling about it, they really are indicating that they enjoy the trivia games and that it's helping them prepare for the official assessments that they take at the end of the week, and then like midterm exam, which we have coming up. And their quiz scores have been really good this semester, and I'm hoping that that reflects on the midterm as well. Um, in the future, I plan to definitely gather data regarding the use of these tools after I've gotten more confident about the parameters of the assignments, and after I've tweaked them to be just right. So hopefully this presentation has helped you have some ideas if you're struggling to think about how you can implement these cognitive strategies in your course. These are 2 really easy programs to learn to use, and they're fun ways for your students to engage with these learning strategies that the experts suggest. So I hope this has helped. And if you have any questions or would like to talk to me or contact me about anything that I said in this presentation, then please do so. Here's my contact information, MILLDEBO@iue.edu. Okay, thank you so much for listening today. Bye-bye.